guys, how's it going? It is me, C, and I have a lot of information for you guys today on what is coming up in my channel, so I'm going to try and run through this intro really quick. If you just want to see me talk about how to make a beta thrive, you can go to this time. So as you guys will know, if you've watched my channel for the last couple of weeks, I am going to be moving soon, and unfortunately I have a tank restriction in the place I am moving to, so I will not be able to bring any of my fish with me except for my two beta fish, my white veiltail beta Moby and my koi plakat beta Mushu. So as far as the future of this channel, as you can imagine, I think it is going to end up being a little bit more beta-centric than it has been. Not to say I'm only going to show beta fish, because I'm definitely still going to visit places and potentially be able to come back and see my goldfish or see some other fish. I can still do dream lists of fish and things like that, so you are going to see other stuff if betas are not your thing. However, making the best of a bad situation, I am a little bit excited to kind of take time to really focus on beta fish for a while. As you guys may know, beta fish are my all-time favorite fish. I love their colors, I love their personalities, I just think there is no beating them in the hobby. Originally I wanted a beta-only channel, but I just didn't have the courage, and then I ended up getting Manfred, my fantail goldfish, and he finally was the one that gave me the push to really start the channel. So, in short, for me to get used to having this more kind of beta-focused channel, and for me to see how you guys like it and to see what I should be doing and thinking about coming up in the future of this channel, I wanted to do a little test run and have a beta week.
So basically this week I will be posting 3 videos as opposed to my usual 1 video. All 3 will deal with beta fish in what you could call a 3-part mini-series. Because the way I will be keeping my betas is changing, I really felt that the best thing to do was talk in depth about why and how I'm making these changes and my thought process before showing you the new way that I'll be keeping them. So the first video is this one on how to make beta fish thrive, so I can talk about the care requirements that I'm going by and my personal goals for beta fish keeping. For the second video, I really want to talk about should beta fish be kept in divided tanks and what to consider in setting up divided tanks, because I know there's a lot of opinions out there about the best way to keep beta fish. In the third video, I plan to show you setting up my new divided 10-gallon, which as you know will be staying at my current residence so that when I bring my fish back from my new apartment over holidays with me, they won't have to deal with traveling with their tanks. I will be setting up my divided 5 a little later within the next month or two.
I am of course really bummed that my channel is not going to be able to continue exactly as it has been, but I'm trying to be positive and be really excited about this direction that my channel is taking. I hope that you guys are excited and that you want to see it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments below and hit that notification bell while you're down there and subscribe to my channel so that you can be with me on this journey that I have coming up and see all these fun changes that are going to happen. And please like this video because, you know, it makes me feel good, and who doesn't want to feel good? Okay, I'm gonna throw you guys into the video now, and please don't forget that I also have an official channel on Instagram if you would like to see more of me and all my wonderful fish and other animals. I hope that you guys enjoy it, and I will catch you in the outro. So the first, most highly debated part of beta keeping is definitely going to be talking about the tank size. I want to note here that this is why I chose to title the video How to Make Your Beta Thrive and not How to Make Your Beta Survive. Because the bottom line is this: have I seen firsthand and from other people that keep betas that it is possible for them to survive in these, you know, stereotypical little tanks that don't have all the features. I have seen them survive for a while, not to their full lifespan. I've seen them survive for a while in a transitional period and things like that. However, I just can't in good conscience promote those kind of living conditions because, I mean, the bottom line is if you cannot afford to give an animal an environment in which it thrives, do you really need to have that animal just so it can barely scrape by and survive? I actually have a lot of thoughts on this topic, but I'm going to keep it relatively short for the sake of this video. What I know people really want to know when they're Googling topics like this is, what is the minimum tank size that I can keep my beta fish in? Some people will say 1 gallon. I know it is more common for people to say 2.5 gallons. I don't think 2.5 gallons is bad. Let me preface it with that. If the water is filtered and heated and is a good environment and has live plants and things like that, I don't think it is impossible for a beta fish to thrive in 2.5 gallons. Personally, if I have the opportunity, if I didn't have this tank restriction, as you guys know, the way I've been keeping my beta fish at my home where I can have whatever tanks I want is I have one beta in a 5-gallon by himself, and I have my other beta in a 10-gallon by himself. Really, if I owned my home and I wasn't going to be moving around and my life was going to be really settled, I would put all my betas in 10 gallons, I think. That's where I really have the lowest care with water changes and things, and they seem to really just do great and build lots of bubble nests. You guys know, you've seen my beta Mushu, especially on Instagram. He's just living his best life and seems to really enjoy it. However, I do think that 5 gallons are a great option. My beta Moby has done really well in a 5-gallon. This is kind of the minimum tank size for you to really get a cycle going and have a good heater working that's going to keep the water at a nice temperature, which we're going to talk about later as well. As you guys know, the tank restriction in my new apartment is going to be 1 tank of 5 gallons. Now, I already own 2 betta fish, so I have to take both of them with me. Betta fish are one of the few fish that I don't really feel comfortable returning to a pet store. This is because a lot of fish, like the sparkling gourami I returned, or the neon tetras, or the guppies, etc., those all go into community tanks that are big tanks full of other fish of their kind. As you guys know, betta fish don't have that option. They can't go into a big filtered heated tank with a bunch of other betta fish. So they end up going back into those little cups or the little tiny glass bowls or whatever it is that the store has. I know they're one of the most miskept fish in the hobby. There's so many stereotypes about betta fish as far as the fact that they live in puddles or they just don't need filters or heaters or any of that. So for all those reasons, even though I cannot give my fish the opportunity to live in a single 5 in a single tin any longer, I still want to keep them, and I still think they're going to be better with me than giving them to the mercy of a pet store where some kid could put them in a little betta cube. So in summary, yes, 5 gallons is kind of the minimum that I like to go for a single betta fish. But like I said, I do not think it is impossible for them to thrive in 2.5 gallons. Especially because the situation I'm kind of looking at, as you guys might have guessed, is dividing a 5 gallon. So both betta fish are going to be in a tank that holds 5 gallons of water, but they are going to only have 2.5 gallons of swimming room within that water. So a heater can still heat that amount of water successfully, the filter can still filter that water successfully, and I'm still going to have live plants and a bunch of other things for enrichment. I'm going to keep them on a really good diet. I'm going to make sure that even though their swimming room is not, 5 gallons and up, they're still going to have a great life. I hope that covered the tank size topic pretty well. I kind of got a little bit off track there. But, can they survive in a 1 gallon? I suppose they can, but not for very long. They're probably not going to be at their best health. Anything smaller than that I think is kind of ridiculous. You shouldn't have a fish if the only amount of space you can have is a cup on your desk. 2.5 I don't think is undoable if you can still find a way to make it a cycled filtered heated tank. 5 for me is the minimum for bettas to thrive, and 10 is great, is my preference for absolutely ideal conditions, and anything above that I think is awesome, and I would love to see more bettas in huge tanks. It doesn't have to be just a single betta fish. You could do, I know some people have success with male bettas in communities, or you could do a male betta with shrimp and snails and other creatures like that. Again, I suppose if you guys like this kind of betta week video, I could talk more about the other living options for betta fish. But really for this week, for me, I'm kind of going to focus more on the divided tank betta situation. Anyway, moving on where I'm going to show you my actual betta fish, I want to talk about the other care requirements of a betta. Basically, the first thing that I know a lot of people skimp on for a betta is a filter. People think that they don't need filters because they have a labyrinth organ, meaning they can take some oxygen from the air as well as from the water. This allows them to live in a lot worse water conditions than other fish. But just because they can be tolerant of a terrible environment doesn't mean that they should be in one or that they're going to thrive in that environment. So for me, they should always have a filter, and that filter should be cycled if possible, meaning that there should be good bacteria growing in it that is ready to handle the ammonia and other waste that those fish are going to be producing. This is going to keep your water quality good, which is the #1 thing that I think ends up killing bettas. They're one of those fish that's especially predispositioned to a lot of fin rot because they have those big beautiful fins, and without good water quality their fins are just going to disintegrate and they're not going to be very pretty, and then they're going to get infections and their lifespan is going to be shortened and all of that, which is not good. So yeah, I would recommend definitely have a filter. #2 is a heater. A heater is very important because bettas are tropical fish. This is another large killer of betta when people skip out on the heaters because a colder environment will weaken their immune system and make it more easy for them to get sick. It will also really slow their metabolism and make them not feel great. This is opposed to a heated tank where they're going to be a lot more active and interactive and more fun to watch, and they're just going to feel better. You're going to get a lot more of that natural behavior, and overall they're just going to have more energy and be a happier, healthier fish. I know a lot of people say the ideal temperature for a betta is between 78 and 80 degrees. For me, I always keep my tanks between 80 and 81. This is where I've just seen my fish do really well. So the third thing that I want to talk about is a lid. I believe that every betta tank should have a lid because bettas can and do jump. I know and have seen several people on YouTube that have had their betta fish jump out of their tank and unfortunately lose their lives and things like that, and you definitely don't want that. So I think it's always good just to keep a lid on just to be safe. Now all of my lids also have a light. The light is good because it gives them a good daytime and nighttime cycle. A light allows you to see them in all their glory and really see all their colors to the best they can be. I don't think a light is as essential as a filter, a heater, or lid by any means, but I always keep one just in case, and usually if you buy a kit, it'll come with a light. And that's pretty much it for the betta basics of how to have an environment in which a betta can thrive. However, some other things that I think it is always good to have are live plants. Bettas come naturally from an environment that's going to have a lot of live plants in it. They love live plants. They don't bother live plants like other fish that might eat or disturb your plants. So it's really a win-win situation to have them. There's a lot of live plants that are very low light and have very low care requirements. You just have to look for which ones those are. I always keep some Marmo moss. I always keep some anubias. Lately I've been keeping a lot of ferns, and I've had a lot of success with all of these in basic tank kits that don't have anything special, don't have CO2, don't have special grow lights. These plants have done well for me in this simple environment with low light requirements. And live plants are going to put more oxygen into the water, they're going to help clean the water, they're going to be something fun and interactive that's going to kind of change and grow for your betta so that they don't get so bored in their tank. And I would always recommend, if you can, to get live plants. Another thing that's kind of more on the spoiled end of betta needs is something near the surface of the water. Now I use these little suction leaves called betta hammocks, and as my live plants grow in, I kind of let my live plants do this, but you can get a lot of other plants that sit on the surface of the water, and these are just going to give your betta an area to rest so that labyrinth organ that takes oxygen from the air can be, resting just near the surface and be a little bit easier for them. And that's pretty much it. Just make sure your bettas are on a good food that has a good ingredient list. I use omega-1 beta pellet. I've talked about this in some previous videos. I also give them occasional treats of frozen food like frozen brine shrimp, but there are other options such as freeze-dried foods. If possible, again, if you like to spoil your fish, it'd be nice to have them on a varied diet where they can kind of experience some different kind of foods so they're not just in this box eating the same thing every day for the rest of their life. Of course, if you do choose tank mates for your betta, do a lot of research and make sure that those tank mates are appropriate, because there are many fish that they will kill if they are in their tank. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how simple it is to make a betta thrive. They're one of the easiest fish to keep in the entire hobby, but that doesn't mean that their care should just be skimped on purpose. Every fish is difficult. There is no fish that I am aware of that is going to be great in a bowl with no filter and no heater. Really, every fish, when you get into it, has a pretty significant care requirement. But I do think bettas are lower on that list, and I think they're great for almost everybody, especially people getting into the hobby that just want something small and simple. I have loved my bettas. Bettas are what got me into this hobby, and bettas are what's keeping me in the hobby now. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. I am happy to have you all, as always, all my wonderful friends. I am looking forward to this series of videos, and I hope that you guys are excited about that as well. I have loved having you today, and I will see you guys all again next week. Bye, guys! My white veil-tail my white veil-tail betta Moby. Okay, I'm gonna throw you guys into the video now. What? That was weird. Okay, I guess I'm gonna throw you guys into the outro now. What? Why would I throw them into the outro? Okay, and then I guess what? Bada gotta get a bada bada gotta get a bada. Tip of the tongue, the teeth, the lips.